Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dhara Patel, and today we are going to talk about using student data to target instruction. I am one of the client directors at Inspired Instruction, and let's begin. So let's go through the agenda. So three things we're going to talk about today is why student work matters, right? Strategies to analyze student work effectively. And finally, how you, administrators specifically, can support teachers in day to day. Okay, so let's talk about why student work matters. So, as you can see, right, one of the biggest advantages of your why student work matters, right, is that it's most authentic form of data. So, it shows you what the student can actually do while the student is actually doing it, right? So here's an example of a student who is, labeling 2 out of 6, right? And you can see it's not about getting the answer correct or not. What you're really focusing here is the process and understanding what was the student thinking while they were completing this, right? Similarly, like I said, it's actually showing the students thinking, right? So in this example, as you can see, it also helps teachers look for patterns, right? Look for misconceptions. So as you can see in this, PEMDAS equation, that the student actually got it wrong, right? Because then now you would wonder why. And given that they underlined 3 times 4 first, and then did the division, you would think they're probably confusing PEMDAS as M being multiplication, right? And therefore is just doing multiplication, whereas really it's whichever one comes first from left to right, right? So in both of these examples, we're seeing that, clearly the student here would have gotten it wrong, right? But is that giving us enough information of how to help the student, right? Is it giving those teachers enough information? If it was just as, say this was correct and you put a check and this was wrong, you put an X, no, right? But what student work really shows us is their process. What were they thinking when they were doing the work? And in return, right, we're not focusing on the scores. We're really looking at what are some misconceptions, what are some trends that the teachers can notice with the student work, right? What are some misconceptions that now the teacher can tackle maybe through small group instruction or maybe reteach the very next day because it is a very big concept, right? So imagine giving this exit ticket, let's say, and majority of the students did do multiplication first. Right away, a teacher may come to a conclusion, I really need to just reteach this whole thing tomorrow because it is such a big concept, right? Versus only few students got it wrong. They know they can pull in for a small group, right? So now let's look at more reasons, right? Again, another reason is what I was just saying is drives responsive instruction, right? So just by looking at the student work, the teacher can immediately make immediate adjustments, right? Whether it's the day of, right? I've seen plenty of teachers where they walk around the classroom, which we'll actually get into just a little bit, right? But as they're noticing that some students are struggling, they don't wait till the end, right? Till the unit is over, till they give an assessment. They want to give that intervention right away, right? So that's what this example is showing. Here is a teacher who took, the student work. Either way, she was walking around while they were working, right? And she created what's called like little buckets, right? So here are the 5 buckets she created, where this was incomplete, meaning the student even didn't bother trying it, right? This was more about not understanding the concept. This was more about a clerical error, right? And then a student that got it 100%. This would mean the student needs an extension, right? And what this teacher probably is going to do is clearly looking at this, might do some small group instruction the very next day, or maybe the day off for those that didn't complete it, right? So idea is it allows teachers to make immediate adjustments based on the student work that they're analyzing, right? So it's live action, right? It's continuous. It's not waiting till the end. It's I'm looking at it right now and I'm deciding right now how I'm going to move forward with this, right? So it's very proactive approach, right? And another reason why student work matters, right? It is improves tasks and assessment quality. And as silly as this example is, right? Clearly you can see the the example here says find X, and what the student did was literally circle the X and called it here it is. And as comical as it might sound, the whole point here is us figuring out that is it really that the student is not able to answer it, or is it that the task itself was not clear enough for student to know what they needed to do, right? So that oftentimes when we analyze student work, what we find is I just wasn't asking the right question, right? So that's what we want to, that's one of the reasons why we want to look at student work, because it gives us more information, right? Like grades are one thing, but the other factors that it gives us is just equally, if not more important, right? Because we know at the end of the day, grades is what, at the end, oh, this is how a student does, but like, how do we improve that grades, right? So if you're looking at it from that perspective, if I see a student is getting a 50, or if I see group of students are performing at this particular percentage, right? And if I want to close that gap, or if I want to extend their learning, all of these other things that I just mentioned, right? Which was I see some people just came in, which is looking at the student, it's looking at, looking at the way that they're thinking, looking at the misconceptions, right? Putting them into groups or putting them into, how am I going to extend their learning, or looking at the types of questions I'm asking, right? Ultimately, that is going to have an impact of how your student is going to perform. And then again, that grade, how your student, that number that they end up having, or a grade level, right? A level, B, whatever the level the student might have, proficient, excellent, it's going to have a reflection on that, right? And then finally, right, which I think is key in why student work matters, is it promotes equity and access, right? That's by to say multiple things, right? So one is you're meeting the students where they are, right? By that, you can see this is an example of a test question that, not test, like an exit ticket, let's say, to same exit ticket to two students, right? And they both chose it to solve it a different way, right? So here you have a student who clearly drew pictures, right? And they're doing 7 times 5 clearly. And then they circled the 5 groups of 7, right? And you can see by the numbers here that they were probably skip counting by fives, right? To get to the answer 35. And then you look at the student on the right, the student work on the right, you can see they drew the pictures. They were also able to show you the multiplication equation, right? So it goes from least abstract to most abstract, right? Like if this is concrete to now they're able to put that into an equation. Is either one of them wrong? Absolutely not, right? What this is telling you as a teacher is this student right now is just not yet ready to do 7 times 5, right? So I see that the teacher here wrote 7 groups of 5, right? Can use this as a learning curve to then teach the student, oh, this means 7 groups of 5 is same as 7 times 5, right? Can make that connection for that student. Whereas the student work on the right side indicates the student got it down that this picture can also mean 7 times 5, right? But what this is really showing, right, is that everyone can share their thinking, right? There's no one right way of solving a problem, right? And ultimately, that is what we're teaching our students to do. We're teaching them to be lifelong learners, right? And what works for me may not work for you. And really, that's why student work really, really matters, is because you are acknowledging to the students, right? Teachers are acknowledging to their students that show me where you are. So then I know how to take you to the next step, right? So if at the end of third grade, students need to know the basic algorithm of multiplication and the standard algorithm, excuse me, of multiplication, I would first need to see this and know, okay, from here, now this is how I'm carrying this student from drawing pictures to now being able to do standard algorithm. But my goal is to make that connection for them, right? So the only way to do that is by them showing you what they know, right? So it's unfortunate sometimes we get stuck into the thing like you're in fifth grade, no using fingers, right? But it's okay. Like why can we not use fingers, right? A fingers is a strategy, but goal is how do I get you to that standard algorithm, right? But you still have to accept the students where they are in order for you to move them up, through the bridge, right, to where you need them to be. Here's another example of a teacher that kind of took it more at a class perspective, right? So we're talking about the total is 11. What are the different ways to make 11, right? So you have here 10 and a 1. I believe it was 10 plus 1, excuse me. And so you have there's a student that, use those 10 cards, right? Where you're doing fill in the tens, and then you have one more. So 10 plus 1 is 11, right? Someone's talking about place value, that the 1 represents the 10, and then the other one represents the 1 in a place value, right? Here's a student that used their finger. Like, oh, count up all my 10, and then I restart again with another finger. And then finally, you have a student who did the number line. So clearly, we know from this is the most advanced. So you could see what the teacher did here, right? She put the let's say the least efficient strategy, right, all the way to the left, to the most efficient strategy that's on the right, right? And again, right, teachers should be getting the students to say, what is making your brain do least amount of work? For somebody where number line is least amount of work, is that is very different than somebody whose least amount of work is the num is filling in the tens frame, right? Because for them, that makes sense, right? So again, by acknowledging students doing their work, what teachers are doing is saying everybody has a safe space by choosing whatever strategy is most efficient for them, right? So now let's move on and talk about, oh, wait, before we even move on, I apologize, right? So the whole idea is we're shifting our mindset from did they get it right, right? Again, the grade, the number, to what does this show me? Show me as a teacher about my students' thinking, right? It's the mind shift, right? Let's go away from, oh, they got 100, they are, 95th, they are the 95th percentile, or they're not performing so well. Rather than getting us stuck on the product, our focus is on the process, right? That's the message, right? So, excuse me. So now let's move on and talk about strategies to analyze student work. Okay. So here we're going to talk about what are some things your teachers could be doing. All right. We're going to talk about some tools that your teachers could be using while they're doing that particular, activity or an action in the classroom. Okay. And then we'll talk about why is that beneficial. All right. And just so everybody knows, if you're attending webinar for the very first time, after we finish all of our webinars, okay, like after it's completed, by tomorrow, you will get an email with links to all the handouts that I shared today. Okay, so there, I haven't shared anything that is concrete for you to take away because we were looking at theory, right? Like why student work matters. But now we're going into strategies where I'm going to be sharing tools, okay, and resources that if you're a teacher, you can use right away in your classroom, okay? And if you're an administrator, you can very easily share with your teachers so they can implement into their classrooms, right? And anything that I share, they will be able to, once they make a copy of what I share, they can edit it. Okay. So some of the things I'm going to give you are going to have examples in it or some, some tips in it, but always encourage your teachers, use it the way that makes sense to you. All right. So let's go on to the strategies. So the first strategy that that I like to call, it's called on the spot insight, okay? And what this means is that the teacher is providing is obtaining on the spot, right? Like while the student is working. So if you recall at the very beginning, right, I had said student work matters because you are able to see what the student is capable of doing while they're actually doing it, right? So while the students are actually working, whether it's small group or whether it is individual instruction, right? As soon as students go off to do work, one thing teachers could be doing is just doing daily walks in the classroom, right? And while they're doing daily walks, what they're doing is they're collecting observations. They're taking in what they're doing. So here's an example of a teacher that had just taught students how to add within 10, okay? And the students were playing tic-tac-toe, right? All the things that the teacher simply did was, and this is a template I'm going to share. I'll click on it so you can see what the template looks like, okay? And then and you will get it as a handout in the handout. But all the teacher did was write the names of the student, and then she created an option, a key option, right? So A meant the student was counting all when they're doing tens, right? So if it was 9 plus 1, they're going 9 and plus 1 is 10, or they're using those little cubes to get 9, then 1, and then counting all, right? The second strategy was counts on. So they were like, oh, I put 9 in my head, count one more, that's 10. And then the third one was the student just knows it. Oh, 9 and a 1, I know that's a fact. That's 10, right? And H was student is just struggling, has is just no idea what's going on, right? Maybe it's because of directions, maybe, something needs, I need to see this child first, right? So all this teacher did was as soon as students went off to work, she did one round, literally took less than 5 minutes. And just putting in letters here that she herself, she had created the option for, right? She had created what the key was going to be. So I'm now going to show you the actual template, okay? So here is that actual template that I will share with you. So here's another key option, right? If you weren't doing a strat, so what I shared with you specifically was a strategy. Like these were the strategies that the teacher had either taught that day or taught previously and was now using as she did the walkthrough, that which strategy is my students using, right? That's what she was looking for. On the contrary, you could have it where the key that the teacher really wants to use is just whether the student needs support or is proficient at a skill or needs an extension, right? Same concept, you write down the names and then you just write down the letter that goes in for each of those student, okay? So what we have done is we have given you the purpose, when you can use it, how to use it, and what is it great for. So a lot of teachers that I know that I've worked with have used this for even at the very beginning of the school year for observate, like when they do behavioral, like when they're trying to get to know their students, quickly just jot down right here, right? And the whole idea is this is supposed to be quick, informative, on the spot information for teacher to use to decide what they're going to do next, right? That's why we call it on the spot. It's real time learning for the teacher as the students are working. So this template can be modified however you want it to be. It could, you're using this, or the teacher could be going around and literally writing one sentences here, right? Like, oh, Johnny couldn't focus, or Johnny is really great, he extension and go up to 20, right? It could be narrative or it could be one letter. It's how whatever works for the teacher. And what's great about this is that if teachers had multiple copies of this, right, this is their collection as they go on. They can have this once a week. They could have this once every day. They could do this types of walkthroughs twice a week, or they could be doing it every day, right? We always encourage teacher, watch your students work. You can't learn more than when you watch your students work. But here's a handy dandy tool for your teachers to use, and if you're a teacher, for you to use when you are either doing your walkthroughs or working in into groups. All right. So that's one strategy. So let's move on to the next one. And this one is called the error analysis. This is the bucketing. This is the example, if you were with me very right at the beginning, right, where I talked about the teacher takes the student work and immediately decides where are they in the progression, right? And so we call it, there was a teacher that called it bucketing, and she's literally just taking the student work and saying, oh, this student falls in this bucket, and this student is in this bucket, right? So the whole idea is now the teacher can decide immediately what they need to do, right? So it could be the same day, like, oftentimes teachers have small groups when students are doing independent work, right? Some teachers have predetermined small groups. If that's the way the teacher wants to go, any one of these, there you go, can help you determine that predetermined group. Some teachers are very flexible, right? They're like, oh no, I want to tackle those that need me first. So oftentimes, those that are incomplete, maybe the first group that you're going to pull that first day when you teach, because you know they need to understand, maybe the reteaching needs to happen, right? So here's a tool that would be shared with you, okay? And again, very similar to last time, it does have a description of when to use it and how to use it, okay? In this particular case, we just gave an example or, a tip, like your bucket could be incomplete, no access misinterpretation, low comprehension, operation action error, or mastery, okay? And it has a description here, all right? But like I said before, all of this could be changed however you want it to be. If you have it where it's progression, right? Mastery or starting to learn, you could change these to whatever it works. And the idea is you just write down the name of the student here underneath, and that's your group. You have this group of incomplete, you have this group of no access or misinterpretation, right? And the idea is now you can create your small group right from this very quick gathering of student data, right? And again, you are not waiting till after the test is over, right? You are doing this, it's continuous, right? You could have used this information to then turn this into a table, right? Or as you're walking around, you already have this ready and you're just writing the students' names down as you're observing them. And now you are going to determine what the next your small group instruction is going to be about. All right. So now let's move on to the next one. That one is self-evaluation, right? Oftentimes, I was a teacher for many years, we think that the student got it, or we think the student didn't get it. And then when you ask the student, sometimes they think they're an expert at a topic where you're like, I disagree, right? And it creates a conflict. So, another strategy the teachers could be trying is doing self-evaluation on daily basis, right? Every day after the lesson is completed, students just do a simple self-evaluation. And all they're doing is they're saying, were they a novice? Were they apprentice? Were they practitioner? Were they expert? Do we have to use these words? Absolutely not, right? Feel free to change them up. But the whole idea is you are getting the student to take ownership of their learning, right? And that is key because you want to make sure when you're having those conversations with the student, when the teacher's having this conversation with the student, they're on the same page, right? So here's a tool that you can share with your teachers, okay? And it is for it. We did customize it, so this is a K to 2 version, okay? Then you have a 3 to 5 version, and then you have a 6 to 12 version. And if you, I know I scroll down pretty quickly, but if you notice, the language is a little bit different, right? So here it says, I'm figuring it out, right? Whereas here it's, I'm learning how to do this. And then if you go 6 to 12, I'm beginning to understand the skill or concept. So as you can see, the language is a little different for each of the categories. And of course, like everywhere else, right? Visual is key. So we have a visual with the title, right? So if somebody's novice is just sprouting, right? Like the little seedling. Apprentice is, oh, I'm growing a little bit, right? Practitioner is, oh, I got this, like I'm independent, right? And then an expert is, I can help somebody else, right? So that's what these pictures are resembling. Get rid of the pictures if the teachers don't like it, right? Again, this could be editable, customizable as the teacher wishes, right? But again, the idea is getting the students involved in the process, right? So what you see, whatever the teacher saw here, right, with the error analysis or even with on the spot insight, does this match what the student self-evaluated themselves with? Because that is another key information. If you're seeing that the student got it down but they're calling themselves a novice, you kind of want to question it, right? Like, is it low self-esteem? Is there something else? Am I missing something, right? Or if you have a student that totally they think they got it right, but it was like that PAMDAS example I gave where they did multiplication first and they're calling themselves a practitioner, I need to have that conversation with them, right? And now, again, SEL too, right? Like making sure that we are also uplifting these students, right? So another key is to do, or key strategy is self-evaluation. And the last one I want to share is small group progress monitoring, right? So once the teacher has their small groups, right? Now what? So here is a tool to share with your teachers where it's small group progress monitoring, right? So the teachers write down what the learning objective is, right? What the criteria for success is. Again, possible misconceptions. Going back to my very first slide, right, with that PAMDAS, is looking for those misconceptions, right? And seeing what are some things that can trip my students. And now here is group one, which is teacher guided. Group two, whatever their differentiation is going to be. Group three with their differentiation. And group four with their differentiation, right? And they could have multiple groups, they have less groups, right? But here's templates that teachers can use. But again, the idea is instead of waiting till the very end, the teachers are taking proactive steps by looking at student work, right? And after they look at the student work, there are some steps that they can take right away to provide that intervention before it's too late, right? So it's on the go learning and it's continuous, right? So now that I have shared the different strategies, right? Like what the teachers could be doing, when they could be doing it, right? Let's now talk about how can you, especially if you're here as you're an administrator, how can you be supporting your teachers so they are successful at looking at student work, right? Few things, right? One is make sure PLC, right? A lot of schools, many schools actually across, if not all schools in Jersey, definitely have PLCs across the country have PLCs, right? They may have call it common planning, but there's time where teachers come together. Make sure your PLC agendas include student work. Okay. And I do have a tool for you on that one, and I will just show it in just a bit. All right. Another thing is doing learning and reflection walks. So what these are these are not your observations, right? And I'm sure many of you may already be doing this. So if you're doing it, please continue to do it, right? But the whole idea is you set out a time, all right, in the year where we are going to do learning and reflection walks. What some schools like to do is they have committees. And what the committees do is the committees just do a walkthrough. And as they do this walkthrough, they share what they learned and the reflection. And oftentimes they kind of have like a little sticky note, right? So right when they've done this walkthrough in a classroom, they step out and right away they leave a little message for the teacher that tells them what were some things that were happening in the classroom. right? So again, the focus could be looking at student work. How is teacher utilizing student work when the students are working? And that's what the learning and reflection walks could focus on, right? Another strategy is peer-to-peer learning. That is simply the teachers are coming together, okay? And I know this will involve getting subs or getting coverage, right? So we're talking about if we can make this work, right? And if we can't do it as a whole group peer-to-peer, maybe we can pair teachers, right? So two math teachers, two language arts teachers. And the whole idea is a peer is just watching another peer do the action, okay? And then they're having a conversation about it. Oh my God, this is what I loved how you did this. Oh, when you were walking around, this is what you did. And also, oh, another way we could have extended this. And so the peers are watching each other and learning from each other, right? Another strategy is staff meeting modeling. That's key. Model, right? So all these resources that I shared, or I'm sure you have resources in your buildings that you want teachers to use. How are they being introduced to the teachers, right? Especially new teachers. Or what if we want to make changes to those templates? It needs to be modeled during staff meeting, right? Is bringing student work at PLCs, is that common, right? Bring student work during staff meeting, right? And model how to use one of these, how to use one of the tools that I shared, or one of the tools you already have that you expect your teachers to share, right? But the modeling is key. If we're expecting that our teachers model for our students, it is key, integral, that our administrators model for our teachers the same behavior, right? And again, I could not say this more, but protected time for collaboration, right? Giving teachers enough time to make sure they have time to analyze the student work, right? That's why I pulled it back at the top. Bringing student work to PLC, like that is a great time, right? Save those PLCs for analyzing student work, right? And taking it one at a time, right? Looking at one template. Are we doing this, right? So focus on bringing that student work, analyzing that to then create your lesson plans for tomorrow, right? We have many school districts that have lesson plans pre-planned, right? And then he just uses the same lesson plans every year, but the kids are not the same. So why are we using the same lesson plans? Oh, but if we look at student work, we can keep the lesson plans, right? As like, hey, this is our foundation. But as we're learning this new information from the student work that we're collecting, we're going to make the tweaks necessary to those lesson plans, right? So foundation is there, but it's constantly, it's fluid because I'm using real-time information to guide what I'm going to teach tomorrow. And just think about it logically, right? Isn't that the easiest way to tackle teaching the next day? Right? If we know that this group of students just, or my students did not understand PEMDAS and keep multiplying first over division, even though division came first in the equation, why would I move on to teach exponents tomorrow? I should be going back and saying, no, 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 no. I know in our lesson plans, in our pacing guide, exponents is tomorrow, but I need to spend one more day, right? And then once you've taught it one more day, you may move on to exponents, but you know you have a plan that, hey, I need to just pull them in smaller groups and make sure that they do know this because this is going to impact their learning in the long run, right? So quickly, let me share. Here is a tool that the teachers can, that you can share with your teachers that they can use when they're analyzing student data during PLC. Okay. So it's very easy to use. Okay. So you're looking at student data, work headline. There are questions here to guide the teachers. Okay. So we're looking at what the student work is, right? What were the standards? What were the skills that were assessed? Okay. What is analyzing that root cause, right? What was the strength of the student, right? Because oftentimes we're so quick to go straight into recognizing the errors. We also want to make sure what is the strength of that student, right? Because sometimes using that strength of one student can help someone who's struggling with that same concept. So when it comes with a flexible grouping, right? So analyzing root cause. looking at what does this mean in terms of the lessons, right? So again, remember, if you were keeping it static lessons every year, then there is no revisions happening, right? So whatever was missing is continue to stay missing, right? And looking at in instructional implications, what changes do I need to make in order for the students to understand, or the students can are meeting the expectations, right? And then action plan, right? You're going to plan to respond. So it's again very clearly laid out. There are questions for the teachers to answer, okay? And feel free to share this with your teachers during PLCs to use when they're analyzing student work, all right? And last but not least, administrators, you got to participate in the process, right? Just like we say, we want the students to be part of the process with the teachers, right? You got to be part of the process. That's where you get the strongest, you meet the goals, right? Is we're in this together, right? Leaders need to be part of the process. You got to see where do the teachers need help, right? Is it the PLC? What do we need? So I know I don't have to say it, but just a friendly reminder that in order for you, the biggest support you can provide to the teachers is participate in that process, right? So this, if you have any questions, all right, I know I shared a lot. All the templates that I shared will be shared with you when the handout goes out. Typically, it goes out the very next day, okay? But you will get the handout with everything linked in the handout for you, and it will be labeled exactly the way you saw it here. All right. If you have any questions, please use the chat box to ask away. And if I can't get the answer to you right now, I will definitely email it to you. All right. And again, if this is not something you're aware, if you're looking for lesson plans or activities, if you go on our website, our resource library has tons of free lesson plans and activities. Okay, to just prepare your students in all categories. So you go to the website, you go to resources, and then all of this are for free. I will say, once you click on it, you will have to fill out the download option, hit download, but once you do that, it's then yours to keep. So I just demonstrated an example, and here it is. I downloaded it. Now it's for me to keep. Okay. Um, there it is. And one more thing, if you were looking for more PD support, we also offer in-person, live, virtual, asynchronous workshops on all different categories. Okay. So please feel free to check out our workshop options as well. All right. And if you can please take a moment to fill out this survey, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to put it in the chat. And like everything else in life, the only way we can get better is from some sort of a feedback, right? So please, if you can just take a moment to fill this survey out, our goal is to just become better at providing our surveys, and we love to hear from you and the types of topics that you would like us to cover in the future. So I will hang around, okay? But thank you so much for attending the webinar. I know it was kind of late in the day, so I truly appreciate it. If you have any questions, drop it in the chat, and please, again, like I put in the chat, um, the link to the feedback survey. Please, please, please fill it out. I would greatly appreciate your feedback. And I'm going to hang around, but if you have any questions, comments, please feel free to put in the chat. Thank you. Again, if you have any questions or, oh, I see some Q&A coming here. I'm so sorry. Is it also possible to get a certificate of participations for recording PD hours? I see somebody asked about the PD. You're not seeing the survey, Meredith. Can you see it now? Let me see. Let me type it here. And Meredith, if you can, um, just copy paste it in the chat. If you see the chat, I would really appreciate that. Um, can you please put the survey in? Yes, I just put it in the chat. If somebody can, okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Meredith. To get a certificate of participation for recording PD hours. I can get you a certificate of participation. I'm not sure if this would be valid for PD hour, but if you wanted to for 1 hour, then yes, I can send that over. Thank you, Dominic, for putting it here. Oh, Kalia, you're saying that the chat is disabled, but some people are able to access it. You know what I'll do? I will send it to you right here. There you go. The individual that asked about the PD certificate, can you please share your email with me? I actually just replied. I would greatly appreciate that. So that way I can actually, I mean, if anybody else requires it too, just let me know and I can send that over as long as it's valid for you guys. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay, perfect. I just saw somebody ask for it. I got your, I will write it down. I hope the webinar was helpful and thank you again. Oh, I see some more people. Perfect. Brenda, can you please send me, can you just type in your email there? Just want to make sure that I have it down. I did write your name down, so I should be able to collect it in case if you didn't get a chance. But okay. I'm writing down the emails of anybody else that's writing it. Awesome. Yes, Dominic, I got yours as well. Thank you. Again, I will confirm that we can send a PD certificate for this, and if we can, I will definitely send it. And if I cannot, I will also share that with you. I see there are a few more attendees here. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask. Um, Are there some tools that you find themselves better to secondary grades versus elementary? Yeah, so the self-evaluation tool that I shared, as you can see, it was tiered. You can definitely take any of those, like the tables that I shared, that like the on the spot insight. I know it looked elementary only because of the work that the teacher was doing with the students, but you can very well like you could take the level of understanding, let's say, right? The one that I had shared. I know my screen is shared, so I'll share it again. Like you could take this one, for instance, the novice, apprentice, practitioner, and expert, and use it even in your error analysis, right? Like you can change that here, or you can just change this to whatever progression you use in secondary grades. I hope that that helps, Dominic. But that was a great question. We try to create our tools where they could be universal, it could be used for any grade, but I know the example I shared was more elementary, but any of this can be used for any of the grades. Yes, Jeanette, absolutely. Can I just have your, oh, I see your email. Perfect. Thank you. Questions or comments, more than happy to answer them. Just put them in the, could you add as a follow-up video what to do after assessing student work, needs improvement, how to reteach, or how to create a test for those struggling students? So Brenda, if I understand correctly, you're saying um, after assessing, right? So that's what I was saying. So after you assess student work, right? There was one thing that I did here. So this error analysis, right? Another way that I use this, and I can put this tool in another example of this specific tool that we have, is you take it and you literally write here, instead of incomplete, you could put, needs improvement, reteach, if that's the question you are asking. But right now, what I mentioned was after you assess the student work, what you want to do is you want to put the small group. But I think what you're kind of asking is what kind of groups to pull if they need improvement, or what to do if they need reteaching, or how do you create like a quick assessment to help those struggling students. Am I hearing you that correctly? You're looking for like the steps of what to do once you know they need an improvement. What are some small groups you can pull? I can make a note of that. And then what we can do is, as one of our webinars, could be a follow-up to this. So I can definitely do that. Thank you for bringing it up, Brenda. Yep, absolutely. What to do after you analyze the student work. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Jeanette, you can absolutely freely share this with your science teachers. And just so you know, when I share it, they might come as a PDF like this one. But if you just hit open with Google Docs, it will open up. It should work out. You should be able to um, you should be able to. Otherwise, they are typically shared as Google Doc and not as editable. So if that's the case, encourage your teachers to do file, make a copy, so then they can edit their copy if they want to make changes to the templates. But yes, you could absolutely share them with your science teachers. If anybody has any questions or anything for me, I'm here.